Okay, so this is my messy desk. On my messy desk, I have this stand and a whole bunch of cords here that I should probably organize differently. And under that, I have these two index card holders. Oh, I should preface, I don't really have a ton of subscribers, so if you're getting this, there's like a strong chance you're a clinician. So that's kind of where this is coming from. Okay, so this one is childhood, this one is adulthood. Inside, this is Pandora's box, like as close to literally as possible. So these are backup cards. These are backup cards. But this section here, can you see? Yeah. This section here is childhood trauma on index cards. So every card is like a different, so like for example, Dad made us listen to books in the car when we would go on road trips, but he never thought to himself, well, I wonder if this is a book that would be appropriate for kids, because he didn't care if it was appropriate for kids. He just wanted to listen to a book. And so he would listen to things like Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, which was not written for kids, or Fooled by Randomness, which is like, see, everything's random, and it messed me up. So anyway, so you can draw any one of these cards and it'll be like an example of a trauma. That's, I mean, you know, not like the worst of trauma. I mean, like getting beaten and stuff was worse, but you know, just he was inconsiderate. Okay, so that's childhood. This is adulthood. This one, I'm pretty sure I did not organize this section here. I think this is childhood trauma and also adult trauma. So if you can see from my angle, several inches of that. This is adulthood that I divided up by year, I think. This is the ones that are sorted, and then over here is random trauma. So let's draw random trauma. Boom. Oh, when I was at the group home, I used to lean my head against the door because they would start banging and screaming on the door, they being staff, because they would start banging on the door and they would be so worried that I wasn't going to answer the door, they would immediately start screaming. And if I yelled at the top of my lungs, I am coming to you, first of all, there is an English barrier, and second, they couldn't hear me screaming because they're banging and yelling. So I would have to leap out of the bed very quickly and run up to the door to answer the door because they were immediately 0 to 60 freaking out. So I would get there and I would lean my head against the side of the door because my blood pressure was crashing, and like I would open the door and they're like, oh hey, and it was never that big of a big deal. And so it's like, I don't understand why they couldn't just knock and pause and wait for a response like a regular person, but they were so convinced that I wasn't going to answer the door because this other person in the group home named Cassandra wouldn't answer the door. So they would just come up to the door and start banging and screaming, and it was an emergency. And it just is one of those things where it's like, it's already hard for me to feel relaxed. And so when at any given time another person in the home can freak out, or somebody working in the home can freak out or whatever, it's just not a good scene. So that's that. Again, these are not necessarily the worst of traumas because this is just random stuff. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Dad's little boy complex. So this would be an example of one that should probably be in the kid box, but Dad had this weird thing where he would want to pretend like he was a little boy, and so he would always say to my mother, having a cat is a big responsibility, because like, I don't know, but his cats always died like tragic and untimely deaths, which was horrible for me because I really liked the cat. And it's also like, if like technically having a child would have been seen as a big responsibility, but he didn't really see it that way. He just wanted to pretend he was a little boy, and Mom was being nice to him and letting him have a cat, which is a big responsibility. I don't know. He had this weird fetish where he really liked to pretend that he was a 1 year old boy, you know, little baby, which I guess is a thing in the kink community. But then he then wanted to pretend that the little boy that he was pretending to be was then in turn pretending to be a cat. And he liked to pretend that my mother was in fact his mother, and thought it was so fucking cute that her sweet precious baby boy was pretending to be a cat. And so he would walk around with like his fingers holding up, pretending he had ears and all this shit. And it's just like, I shouldn't have to know about my parents' weird kinky fetishes, you know what I mean? It's like, do what you need to do, but I should not have had to be part of that. So anyway, so yeah, so this is just, you know, I just have a lot of index cards in here. So I'm thinking, especially if you are Jessie, I could just bring my index cards into therapy. Maybe we could even get some progress sorting these things into the year, because these ones here are totally unsorted. Yeah, go through some trauma, and I think that would probably be progress, because sometimes I can talk about my week and be like, well, I went to work, but I don't want to talk about it because I want to pretend like going to work isn't a stressor. I mean, going to work definitely is a stressor, because like I'm working with little kids, and it sucks that when I was a little kid, I was being constantly traumatized, and I'm taking a class in what not to do to little children, how to not traumatize the kids under your care, and it's like, oh, my parents didn't care about this class at all. Well, they did. I think my mom was traumatizing me on purpose, and my dad was an idiot who thought he was a 1-year-old boy. So fucking cute. Anyway, yeah, so it's hard that I'm doing work and school, and both involve small children, and I only seem to be able to find meaning by working with small children, but it also can be very triggering, and I don't necessarily want to talk about it. I want to talk about all this stuff, but I can't get through all of it. But maybe I can bring it in, and we can work together on organizing the little cards, make a little progress, and that would feel good. Okay, let me know what you think. Probably gonna CC some people, because I just keep my whole healthcare team CC'd on things. But yeah, this is a lot of, I don't know how well you can see with my camera. I got a new camera, how well you can see, but yeah, so this is, half of this is adulthood and half of it's unsorted, and then half of this is childhood and half of it's just space. Okay, all right. Thank you very much, and let me know if that's an option.